This is the Aftermarket Radio Network.
Welcome everyone to yet another episode of Diagnosing the Aftermarket A to Z. I'm Matt Fonslow, and you know, one of my college roommates actually contracted rabies. He died soon after. He got run over while chasing a car. Just kidding. He died of rabies. That and more after a word from our sponsor, NAPA Autotech Training. Check out our NAPA Autotech Facebook page to find out the latest NAPA Autotech virtual class scheduled at a time that is convenient for you. Learn from the comfort of your home. For this episode, I kind of want to talk about a experience I had at a quick lube. So I don't know about you guys, but well, I just hate working on my own car. Just kidding. I mean, I do, but part of it is I'd like to take vehicles to other shops to see what they do different, what they do well, what they don't do well, stuff like that. So I won't give the name of the franchise. I would say it's not one of the more popular ones, if that helps, but all they do is really oil changes, maintenance services. In many ways, it was just standard type of a experience. In others, it was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Like it just, I mean, I don't know a way around it. I don't know, short of not participating. But anyways, it's a quick lube. So it's one of those where you stay in your vehicle, you drive into the bay, and they do the work. And they have like their main person running the show. I don't know what their title would technically be, but kind of shouting orders and then doing the whole upsell stuff. And whatever, I knew there was going to be upsells, but the BS. And I don't know, I wrestled with kind of challenging them on a few things, but I thought better just to get the whole experience. I just thought I'd just let everything kind of go, like just act like a regular client as best I could and play dumb, which is easy for me if you know me. Anyways, the first thing is get your information. Like they got to do that. I get it. How many miles on the vehicle? And my vehicle has almost 300,000 and it's a Honda. And he has this look on his face like, oh, have you replaced the motor yet? And in the back of my head, I'm like, you can offer to replace the motor based on mileage? Like that's an upsell I've never thought about. Where is that in the owner's manual? But whatever. I just said, no, original motor. Why did you hear it? Was it knocking or something? Oh, no. And just, okay. Want to sell me the high mileage oil because it's got whatever additive in it that just makes it perform better and, softens the seals and better lubrication for bearings. And it's going to increase my fuel economy. And I asked him like what percentage it's going to go up. And I don't know if they ever get asked that. He didn't really know. He just knew it would be better. And then I asked if it would be enough to offset the amount of money I'm going to pay extra for the oil with this special additive. And if it's got more additives in it, isn't that less oil? So then doesn't that give worse oil, lubrication? And no, he said lubricates better and the fuel economy would go up, although he couldn't tell me, if it would be enough to offset the cost. But premium synthetic, which I think was Mobile One, they did not have any of. So I went with the next tier, the advanced. I think it was the advanced tier, not the premium or platinum. I don't recall it being the gold service, but anyways, I went with the second from the top. Thinking like, you know what? People complain about the prices of our oil changes at the shop. Yeah, no, we're probably got to go raise our prices because we're too competitive with these guys. And so, okay, kind of got an attaboy from him. And then they drop the oil and the filter and all that. They're communicating, which is nice. I mean, that's cool. And then he comes over with my air filter. And he's just got this look on his face like, I'm about to save your life. And he's like, this is your air filter. Cleans all the air that goes into the engine. And you can see like, it's got some dirt in there. So that's going to really affect your fuel economy. And I cocked my head at him. Like I should have no-sold it. I feel bad about that. because my BS meter just pegged. It pegged. Okay. It's not like just quick lube people think clogged air filters, restricted air filters caused drops of fuel economy. Like that's been a myth for probably as long as there's been air filters and anyone gave a rip about fuel economy, but it's been soundly put to rest. I'll just add this a little bit specifically on, mass airflow sensor engines. That is not the case. That is not the case at all. And in turn, I believe that either there's no change or with a partially restricted air filter or slightly, partially, I don't mean like 50%, but a little bit of restriction, they actually give you better fuel economy. And we could, maybe chalk that up to a little bit of suction throttling losses, a little bit of laminar airflow type stuff. So in either case, I think it's been well documented that restricted air filters do not cause a drop in fuel economy. In some cases, they increase it. And if anything, they cause no change whatsoever. So he looked at me looking at him like, this is just common sense. If the airflow is restricted to your engine, it's going to cause worse fuel economy. And I looked at it and I'm like, I don't think it's as bad as you're making out. And you probably did more damage to my engine pulling that freaking thing out than you would have if you just left it alone. In any case, I turned that down. I didn't get an attaboy for that. I didn't get a complete look of disgust, but I think kind of one of those head shake type things where like, what is this guy doing? Doesn't he care about his car? Doesn't he care about the environment? Something like that. Doesn't he care about my commission? Maybe that's more it. Puts it back in, asks permission to check the cabin air filter. Said, yeah, go right ahead. Well, I have my son with me, 10-year-old son, and he has long hair. He likes to wear his hair long, and if you've ever seen him or met him, or seen pictures of him, he's got luxurious hair. I mean, we're talking like Zeb beard level hair. Sorry, Zeb. Might be a little bit better than Zeb's hair, if you could possibly believe that. And I urge you to believe me on this. Anyways, he's sitting in the front passenger seat, cabin air filters, access to the glove box, and the gentleman asks if my daughter wouldn't mind hopping into the back seat. And now I'm really looking at him like, are you okay? Like, maybe you need some glasses or something. He's got long hair. He does not look like a girl. And he's dressed, he likes heavy metal. So he's wearing, I think, a 9 Inch Nails shirt and black jeans. And, he's not gothed up or nothing, but just kind of looking at the guy, and he's looking at me, and I guess I said loud enough for him to hear, Christian, why don't you hop in the back seat for him? And I thought the guy would be like, oh crap, I'm an idiot. I'm so sorry. I guess my advice there is, if you're dealing with the public like that, try to leave gender out of it. Like, just, could the person in the front seat please step out, or, I don't know, just skirt the issue a little bit. Just don't make it a thing. Anyways, hops in the back seat. Of course, my cabin air filter's full of junk. I okay him to do it. If he's got one in stock, might as well take care of that. I'm okay with that. And he replaces the filter. I don't see him do it. I can see that he did do it, but comes back over. He's like, yep, I got the new one in there. These are kind of tough to do. I was like, what? Okay. He's like, yeah, but I got it done. I think I did you a favor here by getting that in there about perfect. It's like constantly upselling, not just the services, but also like a skill level. I don't know. Is that to perpetuate comfort? Is that supposed to perpetuate confidence? Is that supposed to bury your BS needle and make you wonder why you chose this establishment? I don't know. I don't know the philosophy on that. I guess I would love to hear in the comments, especially if you don't work in this profession. Does that work? Like, is that what you desire? And I'm not mean that mockingly. I, honest to God, don't mean that mockingly. I really want to know, does that provide you some comfort knowing that they're kind of selling you on their skill, that they're able to do this and this is really tough, something like that. So anyways, they get it done, gets it in there. I thought about giving him an attaboy. NAPA Autotech training sessions are being conducted day and night in a town near you. This training caters to every level within your organization, be it a mechanical assistant, a mechanical specialist, a technology specialist, or a driver safety calibration specialist. Imagine a one-stop shop training partner in NAPA Autotech that will lead your team to a path to greatness. Autotech's entry-level Build-A-Tech classes convert the untapped potential of your new hires into money-making mechanical specialists. Autotech's higher-level tech update classes introduce specialists to the world of ever-changing technologies, which prevents your shop from getting technologically stagnant. Remember, if you're not moving forward, you're falling behind. And, turning to the front of the store, the Autotech Service Advisor class is an awesome way to hone your client advocate skill set, ultimately benefiting the customer through an improved vehicle repair experience. But it doesn't stop there. Imagine an electric vehicle class that takes your specialist well past the mundane, yet necessary safety topics. Well, it's here. Autotech's EV Ready training is a week-long curriculum that takes participants through a hands-on experience involving hybrids and electric vehicles. The session kicks off with the use of PPE and proper tooling while touching on required OSHA regulations. Then, the students dive into the lab vehicles to gain knowledge of the common high-voltage components on EV and hybrid vehicles and their function. Attendees will be taken on a path exposing them to different electric vehicle manufacturers to compare component form and location. Additionally, information about Level 1 and Level 2 charging systems will be included, along with a quick look at DC to DC charging. The operation and maintenance of subsystems are explored, including the different modes of Tesla operations, and so much more. So what are you waiting for? Commit to taking your business to the next level with NAPA Autotech training. Looking through the services, checking the Carfax, and my Carfax doesn't show that the coolant has ever been flushed. Well, okay, I know it has been exchanged before. He asks if it's ever been done before. I said, almost certainly. How long ago? I said, I'm sure a couple years ago. Kind of did the grimace thing, like, ooh, should be done every year. I'm like, are you sure every year? Well, okay, maybe not. Depends on how far you drive. I'm like, okay. He's like, if you don't mind me asking about how much did that cost you? I'm like, I don't know. I suppose a couple $100. And then, my God, his eyes popped out of his head. $200. Just so you know, we do that service for $120. So next time, if you don't want to kind of get taken advantage of, you could bring it here and we would do that for, and save you some money. And I just find that appalling. I'd be curious about follow-up questions. I guess if I'm asking somebody, how much did you pay for that? I'd want more details because I'm probably not using your stupid universal coolant, right? You can sit there and tell me you have a universal coolant, it's good for every car, or you have this universal Asian formula certified by the manufacturer. Show me the bottle. I don't know. I was just perturbed about that. Openly knocking another shop and you don't know the details of what kind of coolant they used or what all went into that service. Do you even know? You're comparing your service to something you don't know about. You're assuming it's the same. It's not or might not. Yeah, and also knocking another shop based strictly off price. What sense does that make? I mean, you're going to just, I don't know, it's a race to the bottom with your foot unwittingly on the accelerator, right? That's what I see. And also, you're like punishing the customer. Like, you idiot. You spent that much money at another shop to pay for this service. Oh my God. This shop does everything else on my vehicle. You're not doing the brakes on my vehicle. You're not going to do serpentine belts or timing chains or any other service I need. Why would you knock that shop? Now I'm going to lose trust in them. What was my alternative now? What if the shop's good? I don't know. Short-sighted and ridiculous. Yeah, so now I'm a little annoyed, but I do a pretty good job of no selling it. I thought so. I thought I did a really good job of no selling that, and then told me about topping off all the fluids for me, and really just had to add washer fluid. Didn't see any leaks underneath, stuff like that. I think that's standard and very welcome. Asked me how my windshield wipers were working. Said just fine. Yeah, I printed a sticker, asked if I needed help resetting my oil life monitor. I said no, it's good to go. And then, going through the invoice was, I think that's reasonable. I think we should do that. Everybody should do that. Asked me if I was a veteran or had a fleet because they're after my fleet service or service work, if you will, maintenance service work. After all that is really pretty just normal. Asked me to fill out the review, if you will, in a day or two when I got the message. And I said I was definitely going to fill out the review, and I got my sticker. And yeah, I guess we're on our way. I don't know. I just left thinking the whole time, this is what's out there. And I don't think it's just Quick Lubes. I think a lot of shops operate this way. I don't know. It's disheartening. It's really, really disheartening that the lack of education, so perpetuating a myth for the purposes of more money, more income, more commission, upsell, like the freaking TV Netflix show Tires, upsell. We got upsell. It isn't inherently wrong, because if you're not making enough money on your loss leader, which you can't, right? It's a loss leader. The only way to profit is to upsell. So why not be very honest about that? Not trying to help me out by charging me so little for this easy maintenance service, only to now, in many cases, lie to score, part sales, service sales, stuff like that. And then just running down other repair shops. It doesn't make sense. It's a bad long-term strategy. And is this a lack of training, or are they trained this way? Is this how they're educated? Like brought up through the ranks? Do they go to corporate training, online training, whatever, to learn how to interact with the public? Because they are very much interacting with the public, right? They're the service advisor, the service tech, all in one, working somewhat in the open, right? Very observable. In some cases, you could be shooting the breeze with them while they're working on your vehicle. They did ask us to stay on our vehicle, but anyways, you know what I mean? So yeah, I guess my take is, I don't know. I don't want to play that game. I think that's the biggest way to deal with them. They're not direct competition. Like, I'm not going to have an issue with them, competing for the same clients we are. It's just not a thing. But I just flat out refuse to talk derogatorily about my competition, especially based on price. I would rather be critical of not performing in a repair properly than about what the price was, because the price is the price, I guess. I don't know how they came up with it. If they have their building and land and all that paid for, and their overhead is inherently lower than mine, and they can afford to still profit what they need at a lower price, well, I mean, gosh darn it, good for them. That's really up to them. But man, if they're going to do shoddy work or incomplete work, not do the whole job the way it should be done, quote unquote should, I suppose, but really if we refer, to the manual RTFM, then I would rather be critical of that and not like derogatory, just, I guess, leading with curiosity. I guess give them a benefit of the doubt too, a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. So yeah, I'm curious if you guys do this, if you bring your vehicles elsewhere, or if you've had to, you've been on vacation, vehicle broke down, what choice do you have? You end up taking it to a shop. What are your observations? How did you feel being on the other side of the counter? How were you treated? Were you not wearing your t-shirts that made it very, very apparent that you do this for a living? Or were you quick to point out that you're a full-time service tech or mechanical specialist or a technical specialist of some sort, ASE certified? Or do you go in and kind of no-sell it, act like a regular client, and just see what happens? And I'm curious how many of you have done that, or when it's happened. What were your experiences? So yeah, you want to leave comments, shoot me an email at mattfonzelpodcast@gmail.com, or fire me a message, Facebook Messenger, something like that. I would really get a kick out of that. And before I cut out of here, I'd like to thank our sponsor, NAPA Autotech Training. I would like to thank the Aftermarket Radio Network for dealing with me. Not an easy task. And then also urge you to check out the other shows on the Aftermarket Radio Network. We have Business by the Numbers with Hunt Demarest. It may seem very shop owner, manager targeted, and I suppose it is, but there's so much good info on there. It's very much worth our time to listen to it as mechanical specialists or technical specialists. And you have the Weekly Blitz with Chris Cotton, the Auto Repair Marketing Podcast with Brian and Kim Walker. And then last and definitely least, you have Speak Up with Craig O'Neill. That's right, Craig O'Neill, the brother of Sean O'Neill. Okay, maybe I like it. I listen to it. I like Craig. Don't tell him though. He's a good guy. He's just rucking the best. I'm telling you, man. Rucking the best. So, with that, I will leave you on that great disappointment. And until next time, take care.
You've been listening to Matt Fonslow, diagnosing the aftermarket A to Z on the Aftermarket Radio Network. Follow Matt on your favorite listening app. He's very interested in what you have to say. Let him know what you'd like him to cover and come on the show. Matt is all for advancing the aftermarket. Find Matt Fonslow on social media and connect or on aftermarketradionetwork.com.